And we are back with the winner's circle. Oh, sorry about that. I had to fix my stuff yesterday. We are back with the winner's circle for, you know, and you guessed it, the Father's Day at Can-Am. And once again, my camera is not working again. Oh, don't you just love the technology in all these days? Give me 1 second, folks. There we go. We are going to start off with the heats, the hot laps for at the Can-Am. This was Father's Day special. Congratulations to all those fathers out there. We're going to start out with the classes. We have the Down Motorworks Frame Limited Sportsman, 9 entries, 9 answered the call. The Sundance Leisure with 14 entries. The Panther Frameworx with 602 with 9. Sportsman was 24, and the 358 was 21. So let's go all the way down, and we're going to start with the heats for the Limited Sportsman, the hot laps. The fastest one was Brandy Howard. He went from 8th to 1st in the heat hot laps. His fastest lap was 21.292. Second place for the hot laps was Cameron Cook, the 14. He was in 5th and went to 2nd. His score was a 21.453. Last but not least, the third place car for the hot laps with Logan Brown, and he went from 2nd all the way back to 3rd. His fastest hot lap time for 3 laps was 21.523. And then they had the heats. Top 5 transferred. And this is how that went down. If you didn't watch the video, here you go. The hot shoe that night was Logan Brown. He started 8th in the pole and went until the last lap and didn't get it. Brandy Howard in the 54 did his job and won it from 4th to 1st. The hot shoe for that kind of fell back was the 63M of Tony Brown. And I don't know what's going on with half these limited sportsman cars, but it's like the motors just give out. Before, Bartlett was running a 21 point something. I think it was 21.6. I'd have to look back. And now she's running a 22.05. So something's not right with it's either 2 reasons. It's either the track or I was talking to some people out there, and a lot of people are not helping the younger generations that are actually doing this. They're learning as they go. With certain ones, they You learn as you go. Some of these people, some of the gentlemen that and ladies that race are not that old. Logan Brown is only like 13, 14. So, in their feature, the hot shoe that came from second to first was the 54 of Brandon Howard. He went all night, didn't fall back at all. Second place went from fourth to second. That was Kim and Cook in the 14. Third and stayed there, Genevieve Bartlett. And the top four was Logan Brown in the 9. He went from 5th to 4th. And your top 5, the 63M of Anthony Browning, went from 1st and fell back to 5th. Your next one was the Panther Frameworx 602 crates, Dynamo Works 602 crates, sprints. And their hot laps went like this. The hot shoe on the track was the 22Z of Tucker Donathan. He ran an 18.151. The second place was the 271 of Tiger Chapman. He was the old race owner and then gave it up. 18.422. He went from first and fell back to second. The 1X Josh Van Jr. Sr. He went from 8th to 3rd, and he ran his hot lap was 18.520. George Stanford in the 25 went from 6th to 5th, and there was a lot of DNS in each one of the heats. But George Stanford ran an 18.610. Their hot laps went like this. The second place, well, he was fast, and hot laps stayed in the heat. 22Z of Tucker Donathan. 4th was, and he tried. I mean, this kid is trying his hardest. The 1V of Josh Van Jr. Went from 4th to 2nd. And Tiger Chapman, 271, went from 8th to 1st. George Stanford in the 5th place car, in the 25th car, went from 5th to 4th. And Andrew Ness in the 87 went from 7th to 5th. Top 5 transferred. The feature, the hot shoe of the night for the Panther Frameworx 602 crate sprints was the 28Z of Tanner Tuckerson. The 1B tried to get up there, but just didn't have the power. The 87 of Andrew Ness in the 4 went from 4th to 3rd. Ken Skiley in the 30 went from 6th to 4th. George Stanford in the 25th went from 3rd to 5th. And the 89X of Chris Nealers went from 8th to 6th. A lot of them DNS. Even Josh Van Jr. Sr. in the 1X. These motors, I'm going to ask one question. I know they don't have a starter, but what is the difference between them and the other cars? We're going to find that out. Last but not least, we go up to the Whitesboro Plow Shop 358 Modified. And this is where it gets good. The first heat, the 25R Preston Forrest won his heat. And the 21R of Andrew Howard came in second and stayed there. The 74 of Lucas Fuller went from first to third. The 19 of Tim Fuller went from 7th to 4th. Top 4 transferred heat 2. This is another person I'm going to be interviewing, so when you see that come up and go live, you might want to watch. The 66W of Derek Webb, the 7S of Sean Shaw, the 31 of Lance Willicks, the 39 of Ryan Bartlett were all in the top one. The one that was the hot shoe that night for his heat was Lance Willicks. He went from 6th to 3rd, and I guarantee if he would have, if there was like maybe 5 more laps, he would have been up there. Number 3 heat for the 358s, J.R. Tussler went in the 21R, stayed in first and stayed there. The hot shoe of the night was Tyler Meeks in the 9, went from 5th to 4th to 3rd. The 3M of Frank Meeks stayed and went from 3rd to 2nd and stayed there at the finish. Their hot laps, the hot shoe on the hot laps was the 21R of R.J. Tussler. He ran an 18.834 or 34. He went from 14th to 1st. 28 of Jordan McCready. He went from 11th to 2nd. His fastest lap was an 18.9893. And the top one of the hot laps was Cameron Black in the 23. He stayed in 3rd, stayed there, and ran a 19.251. Their feature did go like this. Actually, you know what? Caution free. No caution. The top 5, and you guys can look on the thing. If it looks a little bit messed up, that's because of the way that it posted it. The 66W of Derek Webb, and like I said, we're going to be interviewing him because he was in a bad accident about a month ago. Went from 2nd to 1st and stayed there. The 45R, Preston Forbes, was in 6th and went to 2nd. Tim Fuller in the 19 went from 12th to 3rd. Lucas Fuller, I don't know if these are brother and sister, but we're going to find out. He went from 1st and fell back to 4th. And the 7S of Sean Shaw went from 7th to 5th. Jordan McCready in the 28 went from 8th to 6th. And last but not least, the 7th place car was Lance Willicks, which came up from 11th to 7th and stayed there. The Billy Dunn, the 49 went from 15th to 8th. Ryan Bartlett in the 39 went from 9th and stayed there. Tyler Meeks in the 9 went from 10th and stayed there. Top 10 of the 358s. Next, you had the Sportsmen, the Bob Johnson Sportsman, and their hot laps went like this. The hot shoe of the evening was 18 of Gavin Isley, 19.804 or 4080. He went from 5th and went to 1st. The 410 of Mike Fowler ran a 20.177. Went from 6th to 2nd. Tyler Corcoran in the 64 went from 2nd to 3rd, and his fastest lap was 20.182. The Fox 28 went from 20th to 4th in his hot lap, and his fastest one was 20.398 or 898. The 1D of Paul Bernard went from 3rd and fell back to 5th, and his fastest lap was 20.40. The 52 of Jessica Powers went from 14th to 6th in her hot lap, and her fastest one was 20.526. There's something wrong with that car, my good friend. The 1D of Dylan Moore, he went from 10th to 7th and ran 20.747. And the Taylor Doc Stater in the 2 went from 4th all the way back to 8th. And his fastest time was 22.569. All the rest did not answer the call. Come on, guys. That is the one way that you're going to be able to get your car out there and get it tuned to the track. The heats went like this. The hot shoe of the first night was Eric Nyers. Went from 5th and charged rip to the front and went into 1st. The 707 of Gray Blinklow went from 2nd and stayed there. The 118G of Jordan Gadball went from 1st and fell back to 3rd. The Fox 28 Tyler Stevenson went from 4th and stayed there. Top 4 transferred. Second heat, Tyler Corcoran in the 64 went from 5th to 1st. Andrew I don't know how to say this kid's name, but he was a hot shoe for a long time. The 0 of Andrew went from 2nd and stayed there. Owen Nyers went in the 17th, went from 3rd and stayed there. David Rogers in the 44 went from 8th to 4th. Top 4 qualified or transferred. 3 heat, last heat, 18 of Gavin Isley went from 5th to 1st. The 621G of Taylor Gadball went from 1st to 2nd. The 35B of Brendan Moore went from 4th to 3rd, and the 410 of Mike Fowler went from 7th to 4th. In their hot feature, the fastest shoe on, well, actually, wait, we got to do this right. I'll get my pointer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars that were the fastest in the that night. Fox 28 went home with the win. The 35B of Brendan Moore went from 7th to 2nd. Tyler Corcoran, if he would have had I'm going to say 5 more laps, he would have been up there. Went from 9th to 3rd. The 410 of Mike Fowler started 11th and went to 4th. The 0 of I don't freaking know that kid's name. I'm about to put it in this thing and have it say it for me one of these days. Went from 4th to 5th, fell back from 4th to 5th. The 18G of Justin Gadball went from 1st and went back to 6th. 18 of Gavin Isley went from 10th to 7th. Eric Nyers in the 34 tried to get up there but couldn't, stayed in 8th. The 707 of Greg Blinklow went from 3rd all the way to 9th, and Jessica Powers made the top 10. Went from 14th to 10. The last one of the night was the Thunderstock. And this one, I'm just going to do the the feature. 60. Francis White went from 5th to 1st. The 21V of Corey Van went from 10th to 3rd. Justin Pope, the 27, he had a bad car, but managed to go from 13th all the way up to 4th, or 3rd. The 26R Damian Beckler tried to get the win, but couldn't, went from 1st to 3rd, then fell back to 4th. The 22J of Jared Gilson went from 2nd to 5th, and OJ White, I'm sorry, OJ, you're not going to win, went from 1st all the way down to 6th. And Mike Greenfield in the 17 went from 6th to 7th. Terry Gardner in the 41 went from 11th to 8th, and this is your top 9. The 72K of Keenan, I don't know how to say your name, went from 9th and stayed there. From 10th on back to 14th, all DNFs. They all went to the pits. So your winners for the features are as followed: the 54 of Brandon Howard, the ThunderCars, the 60 of Francis White, the 602. You can't say much more about that. The 620 Z28 Tucker Donathan, Sportsman's Tyler Stevens and the Fox 28, and your last one but not least is the 66W of Derek Webb. Now, new information that you might want to know. If you are an active member in the military and you live in the area, next week, if all goes planned, you will get in for free. All you gotta do is show your ID card that you are an active military or that you've been in the military, and you will get into the Can-Am Speedway. No questions asked. Go right on in, and you can watch the same as what I watched next week. Next week on the card is the same as the last week was. 58 modified Sportsman, 602 crates, ThunderCars, and limited Sportsman. Pit gates open at 4, gates open at 5, hot laps start at 6:20, and the racing starts right at 7. If you cannot make it, you can either watch it on my channel or Dirt Digest TV. They are really good. They're not. It's not bad watching it there, but it's pretty cool. I've watched a few races. Non-members of DIRTcar Memories, I'm hoping that more people will actually come up to the Can-Am Speedway, because yes, it is dusty. It is the nasty track of the north. There was a red flag that night, and that was for I gotta go back and look. He was okay. I was focused on two of the people that were basically trying to, I wouldn't say take each other out, but they were trying to fight over the first place. But the one that was in the 602 crate sprint, I gotta find it, was the 93 of Guy Gilson. He did flip. He was okay. And I mean, to go from Quebec, Canada, down to here to race your car, your sprint car, you got guts. August, it's still on the plan. I will be doing a live feed for a couple of the drivers. I'm going to be interviewing a couple of them. The ones that I think I'm going to be doing is the 11 of crap, I can't even think of their names. Jevony Bartlett, I think I'm going to be doing her. I'm going to be doing Derek Webb. Preston Forbes, I'm going to be doing him. And the Sportsman, I'm going to be doing Eric Nair, Owen Nair, and Keegan Nair if they're there. Jessica Power is going to be another one of them. I'm going to try to get in as many as I can, but I don't know how much time they're going to allow people on the track. So if I don't get to them this year, it will be next year. I am going to be talking to another one that took a hard ride. If you guys did see that was in a couple not this race, but last week's, and that would be the 111 of Anthony St. Mary Jr. I think he's either junior or senior. I don't remember. I gotta go back and look. Limited Sportsman, like I said. I am gonna be getting a hold of Logan Brown. I do want to talk to him and have him answer some questions, because I think that kid's got a lead foot. I think he likes to go fast, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, that is it for this. 11:31. Stay tuned. I gotta get everything all set because we got a movie to watch, or a movie to talk about. And there's something that for the kiddies that they might want to see. But I will see you guys in a few minutes. Please like, comment, share, and I thank you all for subscribing to the channel. Follow me on this journey as long as it goes. But I will see you guys later. Please take care. Remember, stay safe. And of course, the thing croaks again. Oh, hold on.